Today about those controversial Bush-era tax cuts, because it's getting closer, folks. They are now set to expire in less than 2 short months from now. This is President Obama's Deficit Commission is considering some major changes that were just announced yesterday to the tax system. But could hitting the wealthy in the wallet mean collateral damage to the middle class? This is the central part of the issue to this discussion. Let's bring in Maria Cardona. She was a senior advisor to Senator Hillary Clinton. She is also the former communications director for the Democratic National Committee. And Ron Bonjean was the communications director to the former Speaker of the House, Dennis Hastert, as well as the former senior advisor to former Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott. So I guess we know a lot about you guys now. So welcome. Exactly. Good to have you both here. It's always a pleasure to see you. Maria, a little bit of backpedaling from the White House on this tax cuts thing. It sounded from David Axelrod as if, you know, they were willing to let them expire. He didn't use the word temporarily in that piece. Then they came back and said, oh, no. For the rich, it would only be temporarily.
Well, I think that a lot of people are reading way too much into what they're saying. President Obama had said in Seoul what he's always said, which is his top priority is to make sure that the tax cuts are extended for the middle class, who are the ones who need them the most, who are the ones who have been so hard hit by this recession, and that he thinks it would be a huge mistake to extend them to the wealthiest income earners, especially because it will add almost $1 trillion to our deficit. He said he was not going to negotiate in Seoul, that he's going to sit down with Democratic leaders and Republican leaders here in Washington. Absolutely.
I got you. But the argument, Ron, is that if you don't let them expire for everybody, the middle class will continue to suffer in a lousy economy. That's the argument, right?
Well, you know, it is interesting that David Axelrod floated that trial balloon, and that was not by accident. They know that they lost a number of moderates in the election because of the economy and because of lost jobs, and providing economic certainty to small businesses is key to getting them to hire people again. And, you know, the middle class is suffering, but so are small businesses who do fall in the upper tier brackets. And raising taxes on small businesses in a bad economy is a really bad idea.
Maria, why does that idea fall on deaf ears with the administration and with most Democrats?
Well, I think a couple of reasons. First of all, because I know that Republicans like to argue that the tax cuts for the top income earners are going to affect small businesses, but in fact that's not true. 99% of small businesses do not fall into the top 1% of income earners in this country.
In fact, half of the people who make... Wait, Maria, hold on. I'm going to call you on that, because half of the people who make over $250,000 a year in this country are running a small business. Half of them. So, you know, this notion that it's not going to make a difference. And if you talk to small business owners across the country, which you know, I do whenever I get the chance to, they'll tell you, I'm not hiring, I'm worried about health care, I'm worried about this, so why not pull the brakes off of them and help them out?
But you know what? I've talked to a lot of small businesses too, and so have Democrats, and so have the president. And in fact, they have all said that they make less than $250,000, that their priority is to make sure that the tax cuts for middle class families are the ones that are extended, because that's where they fall in. The other thing, Martha, is that the majority of the American people don't think that these tax cuts should be extended to the top income earners, especially when it's going to add almost $1 trillion of deficit money to our
Let me go back to Ron. I mean, you know, and I actually want to move on to the Michael Steele issue, but the point is that, you know, it's an economic philosophy issue. The point is that when you do that, that $700 billion is going to come back into the economy because business will be stimulated. That's the argument. But hold on. Ron, I do want to just change gears for a moment, because I have you here today, and I want to take the opportunity to ask you about this Michael Steele issue. Saul Anulis has said he wants to challenge him, for his chairmanship of the RNC. What do you make of that?
Well, I think, you know, Michael Steele is going to get some challengers, and that's pretty natural considering, you know, we had a pretty good election, and you know, some other people want to take a shot at the mantle, and I think
somebody else take that job?
What? Excuse me?
Should someone else be in that position, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, it's up to the members of the RNC to make that determination. I'm not going to get in the fight here. I'm not going to get in the middle. I'd rather talk about whether or not the Democrats are going to agree with Republicans on creating jobs than get into an intramural fight.
Of course you would, Ron.
Yeah.
So you punted on that one, Ron. Big time.
Yeah, that's right. I think, you know, we need to focus on where we're heading the country, and I don't think putting Nancy Pelosi in charge of the House Democratic Caucus is a smart idea. Nor do I think raising taxes on small businesses is a good idea. And that's why, you know, Republicans
neither is adding
63
almost
seats.
$1 trillion. Neither is adding $1 trillion to our deficit.
Let me ask Maria. Let me put the question this way, because I've moved on to one other issue here with you folks, and I'm going to try again one more time with Maria. Maria, would you, as a Democrat, like to see Michael Steele stay in the spot he's in?
Well, you know, just from a purely analytical standpoint,
right.
He actually was very successful in these past 2 years. If you take a look at what he's done in terms of winning elections, that is what the RNC chair is supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's going to be very difficult for the Republicans to make the argument that he should be gone. I mean, clearly he makes tons of gaffes, and I'm sure that's what they're not happy with. But I think that they have an issue on their hands.
And he did have a successful bus tour, the Fire for Pelosi bus tour, and the American people did do that.
Right. So why do you guys want to try to fire him?
I'm not on that side. I'm
Ron
not on any
hasn't signed
side
on
here.
for that, for the record, but we're going to pick this up another day because it's intriguing. So thank you very much, Ron Bonjean and Maria Cardona. Great to see you guys.
Thank you, Martha.
Have a great weekend, and we have a lot more coming up.
Thank you so much.
He did punt on that one.
Yeah, he certainly did.
You called them both for dodging some stuff there.
He wasn't going there.
All right.
Yeah, it's going to be controversial whether or not they are. And you know, one of the big questions that remains is how influential is that role today? Right. You know, the head of the RNC, the head of the DNC, how much influence do they have over the political process out there?
A lot in raising money. And remember, Michael Steele was the guy who said
a lot of other people raising money
Republicans could not win the House, and of course they did.
Yeah, they did.
President Obama will soon be dealing with new leadership of the House. We're going to take a look at the shift in power and if lawmakers can get any important work done before Boehner and Company take over.
All right, and if you're feeling like it's a little chilly outside and you want to take a vacation, just keep this in mind. The Carnival Splendor passengers, they were out there to take the trip of a lifetime, and oh boy, this is one they're going to remember. It was called the Spam Cruise, but now we may have to straighten that out. We called it the Spam Cruise right here yesterday, but we're going to tell you the truth, whether or not there was actually spam on that ship. Interesting story coming up.